Hey guys, welcome back to Low Budget Entertainment's podcast. Today we're going to be talking about some retro kid shows. Early 2000s, late 90s?
Yeah, so we're not going to talk like completely retro. We're not going like Scooby-Doo or like Tom and Jerry.
Retro.
Yeah, this is like what we grew up with when we were kids, what we have nostalgia for. Like, I watched a lot of Scooby-Doo when I was a kid. That's not going to be on the list because that's been retro for like my grandma.
Yeah.
So, we're just going to talk about shows that were out when we were kids and like that kind of shaped our childhood and people that like are our age. So, Alex, you want to take us to start off with here? I don't know if you memorize your picks. Okay.
Why'd you space my name out so far, dude?
I don't know.
Just waiting for that. It's the anticipation.
You could have done it. Okay.
Damn.
All right.
This is why Bubba doesn't like you.
Bubba likes me. He just has a hard time showing it. My first show that I want to talk about is a little kid one. I don't know if you guys both picked one too.
I don't think I picked a little kid one. Go ahead.
I did, I think. It's called The Backyardigans. And it was amazing. It really was the best kids show I've ever seen. And
so tell us about Backyardigans just a little.
Backyardigans is what it's about.
Yeah, I mean,
Give it a little snaps.
It's about these animal children. It's like kids, but they're all animals. Like there's an orange moose, a blue penguin.
What are their names?
A yellow.
Remember their names?
Yeah, I remember their names.
Let's hear it.
There was an orange moose named Tyrone, a blue penguin named Pablo, who was my favorite, a purple kangaroo named Austin.
He wasn't in it all the time, though.
No, he wasn't. He was like occasional.
Mm-hmm.
A yellow hippo named Tasha or Sasha.
I want to say Tasha.
Tasha. And then there was a pink something. I still don't know what she was.
Yeah, you can't really identify her.
She was Uniqua.
Yeah, well, she was Uniqua.
Yeah.
Didn't know what she was.
Yeah.
She was a bug or an alien or whatever.
And basically, what at the beginning of each episode, there's three houses. There's like a blue house, an orange house, and a pink house, and that's Tyrone's house, Pablo's house, and Uniqua's house. Yep. They all meet in their collective backyard. It's like they're all like angled.
They're like in a suburb.
Right. Yeah. And they start playing like a kid does, and then in their imagination, and also in the show, like the background changes. They're now wearing like pirate stuff. Right. They're on a pirate ship, or they're in a mansion with a murder mystery, and there's just different stories, and like it's like their kids imagining stuff.
Yeah, and so I watched it a lot because you were you were little, so I would watch it with you. And I remember at the time. There was a lot of like adults saying what a great kids show this was.
Oh, it won awards.
I won a bunch of awards,
especially for the music.
The music it was all like it was choreographed, like dancing, and it was like each episode was its own like it was a thematic episode each one. Yes. So it was really creative.
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
My sister was 2 years younger than me, so she was about your age. So I watched it with her as well, and I thought the same thing. I honestly enjoyed. Well, I was a little bit older, but. It had a good story to it.
Like if I was a parent at the time, I probably would have that would have been the one. I mean, there's a lot of annoying kids shows,
but there's some you can sit down and kind of watch.
I remember like my mom and dad would totally they wouldn't complain. It wasn't Dora or Blue's Clues or fucking I don't know the kids watching these days. Doc make stuff.
Yes, they were, Andrew.
They were good, but I mean, come on, if you were an adult, you would shit your pants watching that. It's not Sesame Street.
Caillou.
Caillou was the worst. I hated that kid.
I think the thing I like the most about Backyardigans is that each episode, whatever place they were at, after watching the episode, I always imagine myself in that place doing what they were doing. Like there was one episode.
So it helped shape your imagination.
Yes, there was. There was one episode where they had this. They were having a snowball fight. It was the snowball fight episode, and they had a giant snow fort, and there was a bunch of they'd just do a bunch of stuff. And I remember they had hot chocolate, and they drank it, and then Tyrone tried to scale the wall with plungers and stuff. It's good stuff.
So as a kid, that was what your mind went to.
It was awesome.
All right, what else do you have?
I'm doing all mine first.
Yeah, why not?
Okay. I also one of my favorite shows ever was Drake and Josh. Yeah. It's still great. I still watch it.
A lot of rewatchability.
Yeah.
It's kind of like. It's kind of like, Nickelodeon. You think, oh, it's just Nickelodeon, but it's kind of just a sitcom, really.
Yeah.
That just happens to have been on Nickelodeon.
I mean, it's one of Dan Schneider's many, many, many shows that he had on Nickelodeon, including iCarly, I want to say
101.
Zoe 101. I want to say Ned's Classified.
That was not.
Well, I think that was actually Fred Savage that
You're right. Victorious.
That kind of show.
And a couple other ones that
he basically created like the young tween sitcom. Yeah. But Drake and Josh was definitely the crowning achievement.
The best thing about Drake and Josh that the other Dan Schneider, that's his name.
Dan Schneider.
That the other shows don't have, or rather that Drake and Josh doesn't have, is that all the other ones have like a gimmick to them. Like iCarly, they're kids that are famous web show people.
Victorious, they're at the school.
Yeah. Drake and Josh, it's
the gimmick
just
is
a
just
real
about
world story. I mean, there are like little things in it, of course. Like there's
they're kind of rich is the thing. They kind of like have all these nice things.
They're like mid.
But they have nice things.
Mid to upper class. Yeah. I mean, they had money to spend because it was a TV show, so they had to spend money.
Yeah. And, like, all the characters are great. There's Drake, there's Josh, there's Megan, who is really funny when she, like, and Helen is great. Their parents are funny. Crazy Steve.
Craig and Eric.
Yes.
Mindy. Like, you remember all the characters, and I've watched it recently when you were kind of watching it.
Yeah. Craig and Eric.
Craig and Eric. Remember the Jewish kids? Papa Nichols? We're not Nazis. We're not Germans. We're honor students.
That's a good episode. I'm trying to think of an episode. What was your favorite episode of all of those?
Shit on a stick.
I love
the Treehouse one sticks out to me.
That's what I was thinking.
Great. It still is memeable, just like a lot of Drake and Josh things. Mm-hmm. But I think one of my favorites is probably the bet where Josh gets the game spear.
Oh,
Drake can't eat junk food.
It's spherical.
It's spherical.
The Demonator I liked when they try to sneak out to go to the new. I remember the names of the episodes too. Like, there's no reason for me to remember stuff like that.
Drake gets a black eye from.
A girl punches him or something, right? Or
no, Eric punches him.
Oh yeah, Craig.
Eric. What about the nerdy one's Eric?
Yeah.
Craig is the one that sings with him in the garbage in the dumpster.
What the fuck?
What about the alien one where they try to get Mindy?
That's good. Yeah, that was great. There's so many. It's weird because, like,
it's almost like SpongeBob, where you can just think back vividly.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of like the Golden Girls or the Seinfeld for people our age.
Yeah.
Sitcoms kind of died to a certain extent. There's a couple here or there, but it's like people our age at the time. It's like our Friends or Seinfeld.
Mm-hmm. I think Big Bang Theory coming to an end is the end of
sitcoms.
And
I mean, there'll be a couple here or there, but
the only ones I even know of are like Roseanne, which got canceled or something.
Kinda.
And then
Curving, you mean?
Everybody,
which was just a reboot of an old sitcom.
They have no more ideas. Yeah. Or like the ones with like an all black family. There's like 5 of those.
Yeah.
I thought there was a lot of them that were the same. That were like Everybody Loves Raymond, King of Queens. Mm-hmm. They were all had the same kind. Like, it's
Modern Family.
Yeah.
The Goldbergs. It's all the same stuff.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily sitcoms, but it's the same thing without the laugh track. Mm-hmm. All right.
Laugh track there. Yeah. Favorite episode.
Favorite episode of Drake and Josh.
All time.
Probably the bet, the game sphere one. Or I like the football episode.
That's a good one.
The football? Oh, where Josh joins the football team? Yep.
I like the one where Josh was the camp counselor for Megan's Girl Scouts.
And the one had a crush on Drake and he sang to her.
It was really lame, but I liked Josh accidentally lost his Band-Aid in the brownies or s'mores or whatever.
I just remembered episode 2. The one where there's a science fair where Mindy has like a big laser.
Yeah,
Josh has a big laser.
Not Big Mac.
What about the one where they break up? Where they they stop being like friends.
And they kissed at the end.
And then he gets like chemicals all over. Or what about the one where they put the car in the teacher's
class?
Yeah,
that was funny.
Or the one where Josh runs over Oprah in his car.
All right. We'll end it at Oprah getting run over. What's your next one, Alex? This is the king, I think, of this whole list.
The next show is probably my favorite TV show of all time, and that's Avatar: The Last Airbender.
You watched that, Ty?
Yeah, I didn't get into the later seasons, but I was a big fan of it in obviously the early seasons. Yeah. I think I made it to water and wind. I didn't make it to earth and fire.
Bro, there's only 3 seasons. It was water, earth, fire.
No, it was water, earth, fire.
They didn't
exactly what
that's right. He was always
at air.
He was already an airbender. That's right.
Yeah.
So I just made it past water and maybe halfway through earth.
It got better as it went on.
Because I remember the blind girl.
Yeah. I'm currently rewatching it, I think for the first time since I saw it when I was a kid. First time I've rewatched it like straight from beginning to end. And I've only got like 3 episodes to go. I'm in the finale now. It was like a 4-part finale. Mm-hmm. It holds way up. Like, to the point where I'm not sure why this isn't more popular. Like, I know there's a big cult following for this, but this needs to be, like, as big as Harry Potter or Star Wars, honestly.
Yeah, honestly. It really... It got fireflied.
I think it canceled. They finished it.
Right.
It ended. And there was a sequel cartoon. I mean, you should be talking more. This is your cartoon. This is your pick.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think? You think it should be more popular than it is?
I think it's popular and people just don't talk about it because I think it's popular. I think people like it. The people who have seen it all love it. It's one of those shows that there are a couple of them. One that's like that is both the Star Wars shows. They start off aimed at like a young audience, and then as the seasons progress, the audience that they aimed at is getting older, so it starts to get more and more like complicated and more mature, and just like the stories evolve based off of the basic archetypes of the characters, and they grow and become really, really developed. It's just great stuff. I have so much to say.
We'll probably have a whole video dedicated to this show eventually. Yeah. But it's like one of the coolest like universe, like world building examples I can think of.
Because it's so simple, but there's so much they do with it. Mm-hmm. Like just the simple, like the magic system.
How with all animals are a mixture of at least 2 animals.
Yeah.
It's simple, but also they do a lot of stuff story-wise that makes it so much more than just a kid's action show. Mm-hmm.
I think the reason I thought it got canceled is because, in my opinion, what I thought everyone else thought of it is it kind of got maybe rushed at the end. They kind of rushed to end the series.
I don't remember that. I don't remember it at the time, at least, and I know for sure, like, watching it again, it doesn't seem rushed.
Okay.
They did plan on doing a 4th season, though.
Did they?
I think they wanted to do
what happened, I know for sure they wanted to do a movie, like a special later on.
Really? Like
M. Night Shyamalan?
No, like they wanted to do like a made-for-TV animated movie.
Oh, okay.
That was like the further adventures, like a year later or whatever.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about The Last Airbender more, I'm sure. So we'll get into Ty's pick now. Ty's picks.
So my first one, live action, Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, Disney Channel classic. I mean, I think it's got to be probably one of their best live action shows that they have.
Most well known.
One of the only
because there's like Lizzie McGuire and Hannah Montana,
mm-hmm.
and I don't know if you can get more. There's that.
Yeah.
I don't know what else could be more popular.
Yeah, and I mean, the show's about 2 kids that live with their mother, who is a lounge singer. They live in a hotel, which is basically a Hilton, but it's called the Tipton.
Yeah.
So they live in this fancy hotel, and it's basically the misadventures of Zack and Cody. All the wacky stuff they get into. Yep. Once again, a really strong outer cast.
Yes.
You have main character Zack and Cody, and then you have the mom, which is Kim.
I don't think it was Kim. It was like
Carrie. It was
Carrie. Was it?
No, but maybe.
What was their last name? Martin. Carrie Martin.
Carrie Martin.
I think that was right.
I feel like everyone's friend's mom is named Carrie Martin. I don't know.
Maybe they call her Carrie because karaoke. She's a lounge singer.
All right, we're gonna be done with you.
Yeah. And then you had the employees that worked there. Mr. Mosby. You had gosh, I can't remember the Candy Girl's name now.
Candy Girl, man.
It's Maddie, and what's her name?
Paris.
London Tipton.
Just Paris Hilton.
London Tipton. I don't even know anything about my own show I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. London Tipton, and then you Esteban. Marvin was the janitor.
Irwin.
Irwin.
Arwen. I think it was Arwen.
Oh gosh.
It's something like that.
Arwen.
Brian O'Brien.
Who's Brian O'Brien?
Anyway.
Why do I remember that?
So basically, he interacts with all these people. They interact through all these people throughout the day, whether they're pissing off Mr. Mosby or hitting on Maddie or.
That was like ugly Ashley Tisdale too. That was before she got hot. Good for you, Ashley. You pushed through.
One of my the funniest things that they ever did with that show is when they did a High School Musical at the hotel, and Ashley Tisdale, Maddie, who also plays Sharpay, didn't get the part. She didn't look enough like.
Yeah.
That was meta, right?
That was very funny. But you guys have any specific episodes that you remember that you liked?
No, it was kind of one that was on all the time, and I watched it. And I liked it a lot. Like, it wasn't Drake and Josh for me.
Right.
Where it's like I remember every detail in every episode, but there was never an episode I thought was really lame. I liked the one, I remember one. There was like an archaeologist dude. There was like, he had mummies and they had Cody wrapped up and he was in the sarcophagus.
Yeah. They had a lot of themed episodes.
I remember the Halloween one, where they go into the Suite 613 or something like that. And that one always creeped me out. And I think the coolest thing about that is that there actually is another show. I don't know if you ever watched the one where they went on a cruise ship.
Yeah,
I thought was just
I don't think it was that bad. It was like the same thing, but with different characters.
Sweet Life on Deck.
They're on a cruise.
Worst characters.
Worst characters. But I think the thing that's cool about it is that the characters don't change either. It's basically the same show, just a change of setting. And you see the kids from like 5th grade all the way till 12th grade.
So yeah, you kind of grew up with the kids, which is cool.
Yeah.
It wasn't as good of a show.
No, it wasn't, but it...
What's your other pick?
One little tidbit about Paris Hilton, London Tipton, dang it. The girl that plays Brenda Song, she's dating Macaulay Culkin now.
Really?
What?
I feel like he's dated every girl that you wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
Look at him. She was pretty.
Kevin McAllister and London Tipton.
Yeah.
And Home Alone is kind of very similar to Zach and Cody. It's kind of like that, got that same tone.
Yeah.
So that's funny.
So my next one is Codename Kids Next Door. That was
really hard to say.
No,
you added S's at the end of every word.
Codenames Kids Next Door.
Did I?
Yeah, you did.
Let's play it back. So we're looking at the codes of the names of the kids that lived next to the doors.
The Doors.
The Doors. They live next to Jim Morrison.
Okay.
So this show was about basically about kids from all over the world that were they were agents basically, and there wasn't really one driving plot in the show, except it was basically one of those shows where there's a different villain every time, like a Powderpuff Girls type deal or something like that. But it was good. You had Agent One, who was this little. He looked like Hey Arnold.
Or Hey Arnold, yeah.
Yeah, and he looked like Stewie too. Yeah. You had I want to say, oh gosh, I can't remember any of the agents' names. You had the Australian kid who was hilarious. He had the hair that came down past his face. There was a black girl, and then I believe there was a set of twins in there too. Overall, it was a different show. The most distinct thing I remember from that show would have to be their arch nemesis, which was also kids, but they grew up in this rich family, so they didn't want to be agents. They wanted to be villains for whatever reason. Their dad basically made them be villains, and they never really I don't know. They were creepy. They all kind of talked like a monotone sounding thing, and they were all like shadows. They never really showed their faces all that much. But
why are rich people always bad in movies and TV?
Because democracy.
Good for you. You made money. Don't be a bad guy. Just play your video games.
They're more fun. It's
nobody likes a poor villain.
Yeah,
a poor villain.
I guess a poor villain can't really afford to do
the
villainous things. They can just steal from a gas station and shoot your uncle.
Uncle Ben.
I never watched Codenames.
I never did either. So we're kind of
moving on.
This is
Last one. You guys ever watch Courage the Cowardly Dog?
Nope. I tried when I was a kid. It was not for me.
So this one was a really weird premise as well. There's a little purple dog named Courage, and he lived with an older family in the middle of nowhere. I mean, this place was literally in the middle of the desert.
Nice.
So every episode, somebody would show up at the front door, and it was the villain. He'd show up at the front door, and he'd basically sweet talk the old lady, and they kind of ran like a bed and breakfast out of there almost, because there was always somebody staying there or whatever it was. And man, like you said before we started talking about it, it really was like a fever dream. Like it was something like you couldn't believe what was happening in this show, and especially watching it now, you're like, how did this not scar me for life?
When you're a kid, you're kind of like, whatever, it's a cartoon. Whatever's happening is supposed to be happening. But you look back, what the hell did I just watch? How am I alive right now? Not like in some padded cell.
Thinking back about it right now just like freaks me out. But favorite villain from that was the Irish golfer dude. All right, moving on.
You just ruined the punchline. My Japanese golfer joke. That's from Harry Potter and the Chamber of Azkaban.
That's not a movie.
I know. All right, so
Chamber of Azkaban.
All right, number one. This is the most nostalgic one for me. It's Hey Arnold. I'm sure you guys both watched Hey Arnold.
I do, but I don't remember.
No, it's not one. It's not like Drake and Josh or Avatar, where I watched every episode and could name you every character, name you every scenario. But it was just kind of like on when I was a kid. Like it's kind of like the Backyardigans was for Alex. I didn't watch a ton of the kiddie stuff like Dora or Blue's Clues. It was like I liked the more advanced, like not advanced, like smarter stuff, but it's in like the kids stuff. I always felt like I was being talked down to. So like Hey Arnold was just basically the adventures of this kid in a city. And it wasn't like New York or San Francisco, or it was just kind of a city, a generic city.
Yeah.
And
like
so,
it was urban.
Yeah.
It was urban.
And he lived in this like townhouse with his grandma and grandpa, this pet pig Abner, and then like all these colorful characters. Like there's the Italian guy, there's the Japanese guy.
His parents explorers?
Yeah, they got lost in the jungle. And they just made a movie recently that I think really finds his parents. But I watched a little bit of it, but kind of like seeing new animation with those characters just looks wrong. Yeah. Unless of like the late 90s animation of it. Or early, I don't even know when it came out, honestly. 90s and early 2000s. But that show just, I didn't realize it when I was a kid until I got older how much I loved that show and how like much my imagination, like when I was a kid and I thought of the city, I didn't think of like Spider-Man, like the movies, or anything like that. I thought of like cartoon drawn. Yeah. You know, like the Central Park wasn't like it is in New York. It was like huge, like massive rivers and stuff. But you'd keep going, there'd just be big cities and like best baseball stadiums and whatnot. So
the way Hey Arnold's urban city it was made out to be, as I remember it, is almost like it was kind of a dangerous place. Like it did seem like there was like
the undertone of danger.
The undertone of like danger. Like they didn't.
To me, it's the opposite, where it's like it's almost like utopian city, except the city's garbage.
Yeah, the city looks like
the city is a rundown, like modern real life
like rats running around.
But everyone was like, even if there was grumpy asshole people, they were good people. Like the worst people in Hey Arnold ended up being good guys by the end of the episode. Yeah. There was never like the threat of you're gonna get. It's not like like outside of Chicago where you're just going to die. Like these kids can wander around and do crazy shit. Like make friends with the guy that works at the meat.
Yeah, don't do that. Like, don't do that, kids.
Don't really do it. You'll end up on a hook in some freezer, but you can hang out with the guy that works at the butcher's because why not? It's Arnold. My next show is Danny Phantom. This one's less nostalgic. I was a little older by this point, but this was it was by Dan Hartman.
Nope, this is
Butch Hartman.
Butch Hartman.
Butch Hartman. I mixed Dan Harmon and Butch Hartman.
Yeah.
He did Fairly Odd Parents, and this was a little bit older. It was kind of like more gothic, more for older kids. It was basically a superhero show.
He also did, I don't know if you guys remember this, Teenage Robot.
Oh yeah, My Life as a
Teenage Robot.
I remember that. She needed
barely, but And I remember
I believe that was him as well.
And I think he did like Tough Puppy later on, but that was past our time.
No, I still watched it.
Did you?
Was that
pretty
based
good.
off of the guy from Fairly Odd Parents? You know, he had like a little dog.
I don't know.
I don't think
I
so.
always, whenever I watched Tough Puppy a little
Let's
time,
get back to Danny
I thought it was
Phantom.
like a little.
It's basically so Danny Phantom was
Flipsy.
basically a superhero show with like horror elements to it, like a ghost world. It was kind of like Ghostbusters had a
Meets,
baby
like,
with Spider-Man and Batman in a way. There was some creepy stuff to it, but it was usually fun. You know what I mean? Like it was never like you're gonna go.
It was just differently themed Ghost.
Yeah, it wasn't gonna keep you up at night,
No.
but it was gonna be like you're gonna feel like the stakes were high.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of good. There's Tucker and Sam, and then his sister. Can't remember her name, but she was. I had like a little bit of a crush on the sister when I was a kid. And, like my first crush ever was like Daphne from Scooby Doo, and then it was Hermione, and like this girl was one of them, which was weird. So you usually associate yourself with the main character, and like, why does she have to be your sister?
Yeah.
Man? That's weird. But like the parents were cool. There was great villains: Vlad, Skulker, Fright Night, Freak Show. All these people.
Yep.
Youngblood, who was a kid that rode a skeleton of a horse.
I remember that. Yeah. That was cool.
That was good. And there's little gadgets, the Fenton thermos, and all
like,
these things he built.
He was a ghost that caught ghosts.
He got stuck in the ghost realm
portal,
and then his parents built a strange machine that was designed to view a world unseen. He's gonna catch them all. I'm singing the song.
Okay.
So basically, he got like ghost particles. His molecules got all rearranged.
He's like a half Casper.
Pretty much. He can like
Go.
When he woke up, he realized he had snow white hair and glowing green eyes.
He can walk through walls,
disappear,
and even fly.
And fly. He was much more unique than all the other guys.
And it only lasted one season. I wonder why.
Oh, I think that lasted longer than you son of a bitch. But that was a fun one. I remember liking that.
It was, and I don't remember very much of it. Honestly, I remember my life as a teenage robot more than that, which is weird.
Yeah, I don't think anyone remembers that.
Yeah.
My last one on here, before we wrap up, will be Jimmy Neutron, which, like, to me, when I think of cartoons, that's one of the first ones I think about, because that was, like, my cartoon as a kid. I just couldn't wait for Jimmy Neutron.
Oh.
That's what started it right there. Which was a little different than the show. Like, you know how the characters were a little bit, like, Cindy wasn't, she didn't look the same, and they were all a little bit different.
They all had different designs.
Yeah, like different, like their voices weren't exact with the series, but that was pretty long lasting too. And like, Attack of the Twonkies. There's just so many, like the characters: Carl, Sheen, Libby, Cindy, Miss Fowl.
Miss Fowl. That is connected in my head. Her name is Miss Fowl, and she acts like a bird.
Yeah.
That's funny. Even the dad was funny.
Ooh, boy. What was he obsessed with? Ducks and pie.
I think I had a crush on the mom, honestly.
That's bizarre. What kind of a freak has a crush on a cartoon character? I'm sorry. I didn't mean it.
For me, it was The Little Mermaid.
That's understandable. She was showing a lot of flash. But
Jimmy Neutron was just like a 3D animated, so you could see like her.
Oh.
Watch what you say here, kiddo.
This is
her
a kid's
eyes.
show.
That's Jimmy Neutron's mom you're talking about.
What are you gonna do about it, huh?
Shut up. I'm gonna use my shrink ray.
I just wish I had all of his gadgets, you know what I mean?
Oh, when I was a kid, like that hover, like tire thing that he had.
What was the dog's name?
Goddard.
Yeah.
Andrew.
Loved Goddard, dude.
Yeah, he was. And whenever he got hurt, I always felt really bad.
No, Goddard.
Goddard.
Andrew, do you remember the computer open world?
We had a basically. When we were kids, we didn't have video games. We didn't play like the N64, PlayStation 1, or anything.
Yeah, like CD-ROMs.
We had CD-ROMs.
That we got out of cereal boxes.
Yep.
We didn't have internet till I was in like 8th grade.
Yeah.
And so that was what we played. It was games that we got, like demos that we got out of cereal boxes and stuff like that. So we had this Jimmy Neutron game. It was open world, as much open world as you could. You had to go and get all the collectibles and finish the story mode. You could use his rocket ship and his jetpack and the shrink ray. And it was so much fun.
Oh.
And it's probably so bad. We just didn't realize it.
Oh, dude, I think I played it,
Did
honestly.
you?
I think I did.
I always remember turning Goddard into like a scooter and racing that kid around like the dirt track.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Going to
I
Area
do remember
51.
this now. Okay. So what would you rate? We'll do a quick rating and then.
You want to rate them? I don't even know if these are rateable.
What's your favorite?
My favorite of mine?
Yeah.
It's going to have to go to Hey Arnold just for the nostalgia.
Yep. I agree. For mine, I'd probably have to say, oh gosh, Sweet Life of Zack and Cody for me. I watched that just so much growing up, and it was actually one of the only good things on Disney Channel at the time.
Alex?
I can't choose between Drake and Josh and Avatar.
Oh,
they're
I think
both
it's
great.
easy.
But Drake and Josh is so good too. Avatar, if I had to choose one.
Avatar is an adult. Drake and Josh is a kid.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So that's gonna conclude the podcast for today.
Just wanted to take a little trip down memory lane.
Yeah. And man, I've thought about so many other shows as we're talking.
Yeah, me
about
too.
these.
Recess.
Oh,
Remember
Recess. Yeah.
I remember. Just like yeah. Part 2.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe we'll get some
Some
Bubba and Hunter on here, and we can talk some more about some more.
For sure.
Alrighty. So we'll see you guys next time.